Module, we are going to study Mendel's third law of inheritance, that is, law of independent assortment. So students, as I said, law of independent assortment is also known as third law of inheritance, and it states that whenever we have two homozygous parents, like for example here we have a yellow round seed and a green wrinkle seed. They are differing from each other in two pair of contrasting traits. When such parents are crossed, they will give rise to the F1 generation. But the inheritance of each trait here is going to be independent of the other. What I mean to say is the inheritance of the yellow seed color is independent of its seed shape. Similarly, the inheritance of the green seed color is independent of its wrinkled seed shape, and vice versa. So students, what I mean to say is whenever we have a dihybrid or a polyhybrid that forms gametes, like for example here we have our F1 dihybrid which is yellow round and will form gametes, but during gamete formation it first undergoes segregation of alleles. Now during segregation of these alleles get segregated independent of each other, giving rise to four different types of gametes. That is, when these alleles they assort independent of their original combination in the parents. What I mean to say is that whenever we have gametes with, let's say, dominant trait for its seed color, there are equal possibilities, students, of it having both dominant trait as well as recessive trait for its seed shape. Similarly, students, if I am having gametes which is having a recessive color or a recessive trait for seed color, there are equal possibilities of it getting both dominant as well as recessive trait for its seed shape. So in this way, students, what I am having here is four different types of gametes. Now students, I will say that law of independent assortment can very well be explained by the dihybrid cross as well as the dihybrid ratio, because as we see, students, in the dihybrid cross we are considering two different characters that are simultaneously inherited. So we can very much study the independent inheritant or inheritance status of each. Further, student, there is one more law or one more thing that proves the law of independent assortment, and that is the appearance of new combination in the F2 generation. Let's see how. Let's say we are having our parents here differing in two contrasting traits which give rise to the F1 generation, which are all yellow round thanks to the law of dominance. This F1 generation further undergoes selfing to give rise to our F2 generation, where we'll see four different types of seeds. Now, no doubt we are seeing the parental combinations, that is yellow round and green wrinkled, but then the remaining two are new or recombinations. So students, this very much proves or supports our third law of inheritance, that is law of independent assortment. Now students, in today's world we know that each chromosome comprises of many genes. We can say that all these genes are linked and thus can be inherited or passed through the gametes together during linkage as linkage groups during meiosis. But students, further, however, the recombinations that are seen is thanks to the crossing over that takes place between these chromosomes during meiosis. But students, in such a situation, when we are having linkage groups or linked genes, then obviously the law of independent assortment will not be applicable. The law of independent assortment will only be applicable to the traits that are present on different chromosomes. So students, we can very well say that law of independent assortment is not universally applicable. Now student, the fun part is Mendel was actually unaware of this fact. All that is, his luck played its role. That is, all the 7 characters that he chose, all of them showed complete dominance, as well as the combination of allelic pairs that he chose also showed independent assortment. Thus, he was successful in placing his 3 law of independent assortment, or let's say his laws of Mendelian inheritance. So students, in this module we are done with Mendel's laws of independent assortment, and in the next module we will be starting with the test cross and the monohybrid test cross. Thank you.